Hey guys, mind focus. Hello. What is up, you guys? It's been a minute since, it hasn't been that long. It's been since like August since I did a little up-to-date video check-in. But today is a fun topic today. We're doing a little Q&A that I posted on my Instagram. It's about the Disney college program. For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Lauren. I am a Disney World cast member and I work as a PhotoPass photographer at Hollywood Studios, mainly in Galaxy's Edge. I am now a seasonal cast member, so I actually live on the West Coast. I'm in school still. But before I was a seasonal cast member, I was actually part of the Disney college program. So, I set up a little Q&A on my story. If you don't follow me on Instagram, right here, Disneyland Lauren. That's me. Got a whole bunch, so let's get into it. Let's see. So my start date was May 23rd, 2022, and I applied in the very end of January of 2022, and I was accepted by beginning of February, I want to say. Basically, it's like an internship. You have to be in college. You only get credit for it if, at least for my school, if you paid for it, which I did not get credit for this college credit. You have to be at least a year into school. Not all universities have that connection with Disney, with the college program, so it's not offered at all of them, or it won't be eligible with every college. You go and work for Disney, usually for 3 to 6 months, sometimes stretching out into the course of like 8 or 10 months if you decide to extend your program. You just can't extend it over a year. You can't be there for over a year basically on this program. You get to work for Disney in Disney World. They used to offer it at Disneyland, but not since COVID, unfortunately. But it's an amazing experience. I highly recommend it as a college student. It is not magical all the time. You're not just going there and going to Disney World every day. It's a lot of work. And it can be hit or miss depending what job you get, what roommates you get, your living situation, the friends you make, the impact you make. It is what you make of it. For me, it was amazing, really great, and I also had a lot of things that factored into that. But basically, you're assigned a role based on your application, based on what they think your best fit is going to be as part of this company. We'll start with that one. Do you get to choose your role, or is it chosen for you? It is chosen for you. That is the simple answer. They don't just throw you in randomly. You basically submit an application, and I submitted my resume, what you're going to school for, what my major was. I have my associate's degree in fine arts. I'm currently on my final year of getting my double major at Arizona State University for photography, painting, and drawing. That's two. But so I had photography on my resume. I know a lot of people ask how to get into PhotoPass. Not everyone who was in PhotoPass with me was a photographer. Some had no experience with photography. You don't need photography experience. They teach it to you because it is a very different style of photography in the parks versus freelance or wedding photography, anything like that I do, because it was on my resume and that I was a photo major, had lots of photo experience, that I got put into PhotoPass. Hey guys, a little change in scenery, little interruption, and it's almost sundown, so we'll see if I get this whole thing down. So basically, web interview. They had a web interview instead of a phone interview when I applied, but we didn't have a phone interview for mine, and I know they just brought that back. So I can't really give any advice or insight on what that's like or how it plays into what role you get, but I feel like you have a better chance of getting something you would want because of the phone interview. I was in the first wave, acceptance wave, so I heard I feel like it was the next day or a couple days later. It was really fast turnaround time. I found out my role about a month before moving to Florida, and I found out my home park 1 or 2 weeks before moving. I'd say the process overall was super exciting, but also I remember I was barely sleeping in the waiting periods, like waiting for applications to open, waiting to see if I got accepted, waiting to get an offer. Definitely stressed me out a lot just because it was like such a big shift, like if I would be going back to school the next semester or moving across the country for the first time without my family, work for Disney. It was like a huge life change. It wasn't just like, oh, I got a job. It was like life change completely. So I'll insert my acceptance video here. Really happy moment, as you can see. I looked real cute during that time. What was something you didn't expect would come out of the college program but did? Something I didn't expect was meeting people that are now like still such a huge part of my life, and making such strong friendships that are now closer than some of the people I grew up with. I really didn't expect that. I thought it would be such a short time and it would be more of a superficial friendship level relationship. So I was super unsuspecting of that. How many classes are you required to take during the program? This is going along with the question of, do you have to like take a semester off college, or do you have to take classes while you're doing it? So I personally chose not to take any classes for Arizona State while I was there because I wanted the full experience. I wanted to not have to stress about classes on top of being in another state at a new job, at a who knows how busy job at the time. I wanted to go to the parks on my free days and make friends and do all the experiences I could while I was there. I know people who were taking classes. It looked a bit hectic watching them. Can you get a job at Disney after your program? Also, can you work seasonal after your program? I am living proof that you can get a job and work seasonal at Disney after your program. I requested to go seasonal after I was leaving in PhotoPass. That's why I've stayed at PhotoPass. Someone else asked how did I get PhotoPass twice. I didn't. It was the one time, and my role just transferred over into seasonal after the end of my program. Not everyone gets seasonal. Not every role is offers a seasonal position. And they're not gonna give seasonal to just anyone. They're gonna make sure you're a good worker, a value to the company, because you are still getting certain benefits. You're still a cast member, but you aren't expected to work as much as a full-time or part-time would. There's benefits you do not get. You get basically the same benefits that you would as a college program participant. Does Disney give a lot of opportunities to move up the ladder in the company? So I would say there are so many opportunities. The thing is, if you work hard enough, I feel like eventually, yes, you will absolutely move up in the company, and there's lots of opportunities. But at the same time, you do have to realize that there are also hundreds of, if not thousands, of other people also trying to work up the ladder in the company in the same way. There's a competition there. So I think if you work hard enough, yeah, and stand out and give more to the table than the other person. What did you struggle most with on your program? Being away from home. That was the hardest. For a while it was okay because the first few months it was good for me. I really needed that just in my life in general to get out in the world on my own. So that was great. But then like my program was it was almost 8 months. It was a long time for me, even though it went by like so fast. But that was the biggest thing when it set in that I wouldn't be home for the first time for Thanksgiving and Christmas and birthdays, and it was weird, and that got really hard because it's not like I could hop on a plane easy. It was across the country, and it was hard to get time off. So that was hard for me, personally. The other thing that was really hard, and this also goes into someone asking how were the hours. This doesn't apply to every role, But what I found as a CP in PhotoPass, we were often given the closing shifts. So in Hollywood studios, that's not bad. You're out like 9:45 to 10:15 the latest, and that was fine. I loved working in the evenings, but also it made it so I couldn't ever go to like nighttime events or go to the parks. If you went to the park in the morning before your shift, I would be so exhausted to go to work because PhotoPass was such a physically demanding role as well as mentally, because you're in heat, sun, carrying equipment, and talking to guests that entire time, which is so wonderful. It has so many great aspects, but that was one of the harder things because it was like go home, immediately go to bed, eat dinner when you can, wake up, try to sleep in to catch up on sleep, and then get on a bus and go to work. And it was just kind of repeat itself. So I didn't get to see like nearly as many fireworks shows or go in the parks in the evenings when all my friends would go, because a lot of roles are usually like, this is just going off what I noticed with my friends in different roles, they had around 6-hour shifts, and that brought its own struggle, like getting enough money to pay for rent on top of everything else, getting hours in. They needed their weekly hours, but for me it was like, so I'd say it was kind of mentally draining on me knowing I wasn't getting to go like to the parks after. It was kind of sad sometimes, but overall hours were good. It just depends what role you get. It just varies. It varies on the role you get, how staffing is, and honestly what the weather's like too. I have one of my resort mugs. This one's from, I think this is from my first trip to Disney World. I hate ASMR. There's a lot of questions about doing the program if you don't live in America. It's the international college program. That's an option. I can't tell you much about it because I just did the normal Disney college program, but I had a lot of friends, a ton of friends doing the ICP that were ICPs, international, and some of them stayed only like 3 months, some of them stayed 6, and some extended to as long as they could. How far can you extend your program? You can extend it, I believe, like up until a year. So you can't stay for over a year. You have to like stop your program at the end of like probably 11 months, 11 and a half months, and then you can restart in the future. Something you wish you knew beforehand, something you wish you brought. I'll tell you something I wish I didn't bring. So many clothes. I brought so much stuff, so many different outfits, which I did wear different things. It was so hot in Florida, I would wear the same things. Or you're wearing your costume the majority of the time. I just saw my sister. I packed way too many clothes. Honestly, that was my problem. But you're gonna be probably buying Disney merch because you go Disney merch crazy when you first start. You're like, oh my gosh, we get all these deals. We get first access, like deals, cast connections, all these things. So you just buy Disney. And then by the end of it, you have to pack it all and ship it home. Or if you have a car, you get to drive it home. Something I wish I brought. My bearded dragon, agave. I wish I had agave. I had serious separation anxiety from that lizard. Favorite magical moment. There were a lot of those. I would say, oh gosh. There was one time, I'm gonna share a couple. There was one time I was personally having a bad day at work, and some of my fellow cast members noticed that, and one of my higher ups wrote me a certificate that I was able to hand out to a guest of my choosing for them to get a free plush, free stuffy. So I waited, and I was super excited because I hadn't gotten to do something like this, like making magic in that form. So I waited, and you just kind of know when you find the right person. Mine was in Galaxy's Edge. It was a little girl and her mom, we were in front of the Falcon, and it was her birthday, and no one was really around, and I had just finished taking their pictures, and I gave her this certificate, and she just kind of looked at me like, no way. And her mom's reaction was almost better, because her mom was just like, are you serious? Like, is that what? Oh, that made my day because it was making someone else's day. Another huge thing was the opening night cast preview of Phantasmic. That night was unlike anything else. Going back to watch Phantasmic, it's just not the same because that night set the bar so high. People were freaking out. It was like a huge thing. Not everyone got into it. Hollywood Studios cast members got to sign up for it first, and we got to bring friends. So I brought my roommate Anna and Victoria and Sam. What a night. We got like the perfect center stage, up high seats, like you could see everything. I had never seen Phantasmic in Florida before, and it was revamped, and when that, oh wow, when Mickey showed up, people screamed. Like, they were so excited. I've never it was amazing. People were crying from the beginning till the very end. There was a standing ovation. There's a video, I think I posted a reel somewhere, of how that was a core memory, because it was just like looking around, you see all these cast members just so overjoyed by a show, by a mouse. Really like embodied the love that everyone who works there has for the company, because everyone who was there wanted to be there and they were so excited for this. That's such a nostalgic show for me. I love that show in Disneyland. I'm bummed I haven't gotten to see it in Disneyland now that it's not coming back for a while, but it was just a good night. That was such a good night. Oh, woo! Goosebumps. I have so many more stories I could tell with that. I could go on and on and on just thinking about everything and remembering. Meeting Chewie. Oh my gosh. Do all colleges support the DCP? Would I need permission from my college? I know not all of them are working with Disney, so no. Not all colleges offer credit for the Disney College program, or are connected to the Disney College program associated with it. Yes, I believe you need permission. Could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure you need some sort of permission or something from your school, that you've been in school for at least a year, and that if you've graduated, it's been in the last 12 months, I believe. I would say just email your advisor or your school, because it's likely that someone has done it before, or they'll have a straight answer. They just know the answer to this because it is a popular program. People, they know about it. Did you have a constant schedule with your role as PhotoPass? Pretty much. In a sense that I knew I'd be working evenings. Galaxy's Edge was such a more limited area for PhotoPass at the time. After I got trained for Edge, I was always in Edge. That's how it was. So I kind of knew I would always be in the evenings in Edge, and yeah, I had Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. Yeah, that was my schedule. Pretty sure almost everyone has around the same off days, consistency wise. Like, if you have Monday, Wednesday off, you'll have Monday, Wednesday off. I had Tuesday, Wednesday, that's just how it went. My battery says it's gonna die. I just charged it, oh no. If this dies, I'll have to do another to be continued. How is Flamingo Crossings? Flamingo Crossings was probably the thing I miss most about the college program as a program. I adored Flamingo Crossing. I adored my room. I did have my own room. Not everyone does. I had the most amazing roommates. They were wonderful. Amazing gym. Amazing gym. That's where I learned to gym, honestly. It was brand new. We were the first people to live in ours because I was in, there's East and West, and I was at the West campus, which was the newer one. So it was very nice, and they had games, pools, movies, like, it's just a beautiful view. Everything was great. I have no complaints about Flamingo. Short walk to get groceries. The bus system was amazing. Just hopping on and going to a resort or the parks. So easy. You don't have to worry about parking or paying for gas or driving. You get to just like mentally chill on the buses. That's another thing. I don't know if anyone asked this. Choice to have a car or to use the buses. I would use the buses because 9 out of 10 times you're gonna make friends who have cars. Don't take advantage of them having a car. Like, help pay for gas money and don't expect them to drive you everywhere. When you need it, someone's probably gonna have a car. And if not, the buses take you everywhere for free, and it's a nice little mentally chill break.